What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Bland back in the building with another weekly episode of the Shop Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us another beautiful Saturday. Thank you guys for stopping in here. Before we go any further, I got some really big news I want to let the chat know. Huge shout out to everybody. The channel finally hit 1,100 subscribers, guys. So huge shout out to everybody who subscribed. I actually hit it live. Thank you.
Well
thank
deserved.
You. Yeah, thank you. I actually hit it live on Nintendo's podcast. Shout out to Nintendo. Go back and watch the last show. Subscribe to him as well. Great show. Great Nintendo guy. If you guys like Nintendo information, he's the number one guy I get mine from. So shout out to him. Hit it live. It was amazing. No, that was the short term goal essentially. So we hit it a little bit early, guys. So let's go ahead and try and make this push to 1,200 subs, guys. I think we can make it. I really think we can do it. But before I go rambling on and go any too further, just want to make sure the guests let you guys know where they're at, what they're doing, what they have going on. So let's start with you. We got a Lord here on the show for the second time. Last time was Lord Cog. Appreciate you leaving the realm to come on the Shop Podcast. Man, how you been?
I'm doing good, man. I'm Lord Sovereign from the Iron Lords Podcast, man. I'm chilling, brother.
Awesome. Yeah, let's get it, man. So Saab is a guy I met on the Iron Lords podcast I did a couple weeks ago. Shout out to them. They do a phenomenal show. I will make sure their link to their YouTube channel is down in the description below. Go subscribe to them as well, guys. So we're going to move on to the two usual suspects, guys. We're going to go ahead and, since I got the fee waivers and all the paperwork out the way, we're going to start with Zalker. Go ahead, Zalker. Go ahead, Zalker. Let everybody know where they can find you, G.
I'm just reading the contract, make sure it's solid. We're doing good, everybody. It's good to be on. PTK, congrats on the subs, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, man. I didn't expect you to come with the Forza still out,
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys can find me at Zalker87. Come on, man. Let's have a good time today. We have some badass topics coming up.
Let's get it. And once again, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. Let's go ahead and bounce over to Fuzzy, man. Finally up and awake. Finally up and awake, man. Had your daily dose of Forza this morning. How you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty good. Once again, congrats on the subs.
Thank you.
Definitely well deserved, and great to be here talking some games with the guys. And yeah, let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's dive in. As you guys can see, Fuzzy is super energized today. He never brings that much energy at the beginning of the show. Now let's get it, guys. Let's dive in. So we got some great topics lined up, guys. So first one I want to talk about is that there's this rumor essentially been going out. Shout out to Clobril. Everybody know he's been like the go-to guy the last probably 6-7 months as far as like rumors and information. But he did put out a tweet basically saying that Xbox is lined up to have the best price and the most powerful console. Now, I don't think part of this is a surprise. We already know they're not going to lose the power narrative ever again. But as far as the best price and most powerful, that is a completely different situation. So how do you guys think that's going to work out? And I definitely want to start with you, Solve. Do you think them coming in under, as far as Sony, as far as price, you think that's possible on top of being the most powerful console?
Well, I think what they're doing is coming at it from like a three-pronged approach. I firmly believe they're not coming with one console.
Got it.
They're coming with multiple SKUs. They're coming with a super powerful, base console that's going to be their next generation step. They're going to come with something sort of a middle ground thing, and they're going to come with something that's strictly for streaming. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so they're going to win. They're going to win the price narrative on one of those fronts, right? I think for them to deliver on the most powerful console thing, you're not getting a console below $500.
Yeah, I think
I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen for Sony either. If they really want to compete. Because Microsoft has already shown that they can come back with a $500 console and it sell well.
Yeah.
So they have no reason to try to go back to try to selling you a $400 console. I just don't see that happening, and I don't see Sony doing it either. Now, if there's anybody that can eat that money wise and still be okay, it's probably Microsoft. But I just don't see them doing it. And then again, with the three-pronged approach, they're going to give you something that's middle of the road. Mm-hmm. Kind of probably maybe a little more powerful than the X right now, as an option to getting into the ecosystem. And then the Project X Cloud, whatever dedicated sort of device that is, it's going to be considerably cheaper. So they're going to give you a lot of options to get into the ecosystem, and that's how I think they're going to win the price war, right? By just giving people choice.
Okay, no, that's definitely a good approach, and I thought about that too. That's what we've been talking about here on the podcast as well, is that the price versus performance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we know these next generation consoles are going to have better hardware. You know, better hardware tends to mean more money, essentially, especially in the PC space if you're looking at it from that perspective. But as far as console goes, that tends to mean more money as well. Now we know, like you said, I think that them coming out with the X super benefit with them because now they're customer base are used to paying $500 at that price point for the performance. We're used to that on the Xbox side. We're okay with that because we know what we're getting. We've seen the benefits of it. So I think that from that standpoint, they do have a benefit of providing that. You know, because Sony, if they come out and say, "Hey, here's a new, PS5 and it's 650 or 600," they're going to have it's going to be like pulling teeth to get their fan base to make that jump up to the 550 or 600, whatever
True.
it may be. So I don't know if you agree with that as well. Would you kind of agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I think with Sony, it's so they've been so used to sort of winning that narrative, right? And being able to come out at a $400 price point at essentially the same power level as Xbox One was, right? The problem with the Xbox One was that it had a lot of power, right? It had power diverted to the Kinect, and it wasn't developed with that in mind. So you could see that differential at the start of the generation. But I think now, I mean, they're at a point they gave you how much was the Pro when it launched? Was it 4? It was 4.
Was it
Still is 4? Hasn't even had a price drop.
Haven't had a single price drop.
Yeah. So for me, I just think if these consoles are going to have very similar specs because they're getting the parts from the same people. They both have they have a bar that they have to reach, and they're not necessarily going to go beyond that. So they're going to be differences in the console, yes, but I think power wise they're going to be very comparable. So price wise, again, unless they just really want to go out there and try to bury Microsoft, so not going to sell this at a huge loss at $400. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah,
I can't see 4 either. With the X at 5 and knowing that this next generation, these games are going to be bigger, people are going to demand more out of these games. 400 is not going to cut it. It's not. I think they're banking on their base, believing that they're going to continue to deliver on these AAA games that they've been giving them throughout this generation, and they're going to be willing to pay for that. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. We know they're not putting the money in E3. I'm just joking. That was a shot, guys.
Or PSX.
Yeah, we do. That's not confirmed. That's not confirmed.
Oh, I'm talking about this year.
This year. Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, that's what I say. So go ahead. I'm gonna bounce that question over to you, Zalker. What do you think as far as price versus performance? I know you've said here on the show about where the Xbox is at as far as what they're going to be doing next generation and that balance. So what's your opinion on that? What do you think? You think it's going to be easy for them to come in lower, better specs and lower price because of the 3-prong approach?
I think he's right about I think everybody knows that they're coming out with multiple consoles, but I also think that it's going to be one of them is going to be like the S version, but it's going to be as powerful as the X, and it's going to be about 7 to 8 teraflops. It's going to have a better CPU, which that's the biggest bottleneck at this generation is the CPU on both consoles, on every console. So I think they're going to have a better CPU on it and price it at around $300. And then they're going to have, for the hardcore, this obscene, probably 16 gigabytes of RAM, if not more, with about 12 to 14 teraflops of power. And I think that's going to be with a CPU.
650?
I'm talking 550. I don't know if they go 6. Yeah, they might go 6. I don't know because you got to understand that this is coming out 2 years from now. So technology really, and they buy it in bulk. So technology really goes down. So that's the price of it goes down. So I don't know if they're going to go 6. I think they're going to stick with the 5 and then keep the 3. And then as the stream goes, we already know a diskless Xbox is being announced in January, and it's probably launching this spring. Yeah, coming up. So I think that's going to be around $150 to $200 for anybody that just wants to get in on it and just play games and not have to worry about specs.
We're hoping it's going to be $150 or $2 because that's not set in stone either. So.
Well, I mean, it's not set in stone, but if you look at what they're trying to accomplish with what other streaming services have done, right. And then there's also documentation and code that has been leaked that they're trying to get streaming to be about where the Xbox One S, a little bit below where the X is. But now they're doing technology to stream like the Anaconda is going to be doing. Yeah. Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of nuts. I mean, for me, like when I heard initially about the Project X Cloud and that the fact that the what was powering it was basically S hardware, I said, okay, that makes sense, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's reasonable to maybe expect 1080p, 30 to 60 frames per second, right? With minimal lag if you have a lot of data centers around to be able to kind of minimize that stuff. I think part of the problem with some of the higher end stuff has been that they've been shooting for like this super high fidelity that they just can't accomplish yet with the bandwidth that's available.
The infrastructure is not there yet.
Yeah, I've been playing Project Stream with Google, and I've been playing the Odyssey on there. And when I have a great connection and I'm playing, and I'm like, well, yeah, it looks like it probably would look on an Xbox One S, which is great, to be honest, which is great. It's not something, as somebody who used to play on live, and the same PS. Yes, I'm old. I'm dating myself.
Wow. Yeah,
yeah, man. It's a considerable leap. So I'm just excited for what they can do on all fronts with this, man. Like this X Cloud, and we'll get into that. We'll get into this discussion when we talk about like the person of the year thing. But I mean, I think it's just the innovations upon innovations. Just makes me excited, and for me, like the streaming stuff, as much of a joke as it used to be, it's crazy to be thinking about it in a positive light now.
You know what? This is funny because technology is weird. I always go back to this. When I was in like 5th grade, I thought by the year 2000 we'd all be in like Jetson cars. Like we'd be floating around, flying around. There would be no wheels, no highways, no none of that. We'd be floating around. But it never really goes as far as you think it does. Look up, we still got the same cars for the most part, same type of, things did move pretty quickly, but a lot of other things didn't change so much. But I kind of akin that to tech and video games as well. Like people tend to overextend when it comes to tech. As far as gamers, as consumers, we tend to think the furthest example, like the far end of the spectrum, and it's never really that far. So when it comes to them streaming and the infrastructure, I actually think that they're a lot closer, because this is not something that especially companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft haven't thought about for the last probably 20 years. Right. How the hell do we get this internet to more people, or a great connection to more people? You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. So I think it's a very, very interesting thing. And if one company can pull it out, it's definitely Xbox and Microsoft. So we're going to go ahead and bounce this question over to you, Fuzzy. I wanted to get your same opinion on what you thought about price point, them coming in more powerful. Do you agree with pretty much everything everybody said here?
Yeah, I think the only slight difference would be on the X1X equivalent for, I guess, the next gen would be, I think that's still going to be capped at the 500 mark. It's just that I think it will be diskless on that one. They may eventually offer one where it has like a solid state that's 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte or something like that. But that's going to be one that, you probably have to order online, and it's going to hit well over the $500 mark. But I think they're going to do a diskless one that's going to have all the bells and whistles, like what everybody was saying, as far as like 12 terabyte type of range, somewhere north of like, I would say more than likely 16 gigs of RAM and things like that. But I think that's still going to be capped at like the $500 price point. I think the streaming one's going to be right between the 100 and 150 mark. And then the mid-range one will probably, fly off the shelves at like around 300 to 350 range. They'll probably have a couple of variants where it's like I don't think they're going to do solid state in that one, but they'll probably have like the high definition Blu-ray one. They'll probably be closer to like the 4 or 450 range, and then the 3 or 350 range one will be like your either standard Blu-ray or new, or like a diskless one of that as well.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to cover all bases and be very appealing to get people to look at that ecosystem. But I think overall they're going to try to cover every budget that people that are out there looking to game are willing to spend. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I definitely want to get like the X1X equivalent, but the streaming ones, I think I'm probably want to picking 2 of those up for the boys.
Nice.
That way it'll be a lot cheaper than trying to go with something that's like an S, because like for the most part they're not really complain about the graphics on the original Xbox now on their 1080p TV. So it's like, I can save a few bucks there, but I can't wait.
So I got a second question. Before we move on off this topic. So shout out to Boss Moves for showing up today. But he dropped something in there. He said, PS learned what happens when you go over $500 with the PS3. So since we're all seeing, a lot of us agree that that's like the cutoff as far as like the amount you could charge for a console. Is there any way anybody's going to be able to go over at some point? Because I mean, as we go further with this technology, I know what you just said, Saab, about, or not you, Fuzzy just said, sorry, Fuzzy, Zalker, Jesus Christ, I'm all over the place. Zalker just said about the fact that as technology a couple years from now, the tech that's very expensive is not going to be as expensive, and they're buying in bulk. Do you guys think it would be just suicide for anybody to put $550 or $549.99 or $579 or something like that out there for these newer consoles? You think so?
I think it's gonna be bad. The number one thing is the expensive console is going to be for the hardcore. I think the hardcore will pay whatever they want, but I think they're going to try to keep it at a reasonable price where it's not just the hardcore buying it, that it's multiple people. The number one thing that Microsoft is trying to do, or Xbox, their whole goal in Xbox right now is to reach 2 billion gamers on their network. Yeah. That's their whole goal. No matter what, anything else, it's 2 billion gamers. So I think I don't even know if they're going to even take a hit with a $500 price point because of what everything's going to cost.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to even take a hit with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think it is. I mean, they already set the foundation and making us understand for the next 2 years the SKUs of consoles. Look at the S and the X. Like, people know if you get an S, it's cool. Like, it's going to work. You're going to get a 4K Blu-ray drive. Awesome. But you're going to play games at a lower fidelity. And that's what it is. It's just basically they're going to do the same thing except add a little bit of a stream to it, or a streaming box to it, which is going to be for the complete casuals that just might want to just use it for, like, it's going to be like, hey, yeah, you can stream Netflix and all your movies too, but you can also stream games.
Yeah.
It's going to be an added thing. They're attacking multiple companies, That's what they're trying to do. They're attacking Apple with the stream box thing. They're doing Sony with the console, and then they're going Netflix with the freaking stream. It's just everything. That's like, it's a whole, like, it's like a general, right? Like, they're just attacking everyone. They're on the battlefield, like going, let's go here, here, and here.
I have a theory. I have a theory about the streaming box. Well, a theory and a hope. I honestly hope that it comes with a screen, and I honestly hope that it is something akin to like a Switch, like a dedicated game. There isn't a need, but for me anyway, right? I don't necessarily have an issue with pulling out like a tablet and putting out my Elite controller and playing that way. But I would prefer having the form factor of something portable in my hands that's built for gaming by Microsoft, right? And my thing is that, well, if it's going to be, let's say, $150 to $200, right? But the innards are really just supporting the streaming stuff. There isn't necessarily any reason they couldn't just throw a screen on it and make it into sort of like this portable gaming device that isn't necessarily powered on its own. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily, the guts of it aren't necessarily super powerful, but it's at least a dedicated portable gaming device by Microsoft that supports that entire ecosystem. I think that's really interesting.
I understand what you're saying, but then that's another SKU that engineers need to account for, right? And I'm gonna be honest, like developers, when they make games for consoles and PC, it's not a really big deal when they skew it through it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if they go from the X to the S to PC, because PC you have to have like 15 SKUs or 20 because of the power of some people's rig. But with that's
what I mean is that would be their screen. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That would be the SKU. Like, the streaming box would be that. It would be something you can use in the home or something you could use portable as well.
Like you said, like a Switch, a la Switch.
Right.
No, and I get that, but I just don't think it's a great source of like putting resources toward, because I could just bust out my phone or my tablet, and that's what they care about.
True, that is true. Again, I mean, looking at that setup they showed for the Project Extreme video, where they had like, you attach the phone to your controller. I mean, I'd be willing to do that. It wouldn't necessarily be my ideal way to play, but I'd do it. But that's what I'm talking about with something dedicated that's portable. But yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. I just think it'd be interesting because at that point, then they'd be attacking the Switch as well, because they've been buddy with Switch for quite some time.
Yeah, I think it's more about crossplay and more maybe using some IPs within each other, like Banjo going to Smash or just something like that. But Sean Zhu, my bad, I'm kind of Sean Zhu said gen will probably be the last gen for our local hardware. That's not true, man. Like Phil Spencer, everybody has said that local hardware is the best way to play. Absolutely. You're not. It's streaming is not there yet. It's not going to be there for another maybe 10 to 15 years. We got plenty more of why we need local hardware. Local hardware is going to make everything that much easier on the developer.
And I don't think it'll ever be there in terms of fidelity comparing to I mean, streaming will never ever be there in terms of fidelity comparing to what you can play at the home. I don't think it'll ever. There'll never be that parity.
That's a hard push. That's a tough push as far as streaming goes. And like you said, the latency, the infrastructure issues are the biggest thing as far as getting that service to as many people as you possibly can. But that was a great opening topic, guys. Great opening topic, man. Glad we started with that one. We had a whole lot to say. So every time I bring up a topic, chat, it is for you guys as well. So stay engaged in the chat. Let us know when you're stopping in. Just say hello in the chat as well. Let's keep this thing moving. So as Lord Sav talked about earlier, it was a great segue, by the way. Thank you. We're bringing up Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer recently was awarded Game Industry Person of the Year. I think it was like Gaming Biz Online or some website. And there was a lot of people, they tweeted it out saying he was a Person of the Year. A lot of people felt otherwise. A lot of people in there taking shots. I thought it was pretty much a no-brainer when it comes to the video games. I mean, at some point, he probably should have won some award similar to it, but I think now is the perfect time based on what they were able to do in 2018. So I know we probably are all on the same accordance as far as like this award and him getting it. But you guys have anything to say about the job Phil has done up until this point with Xbox? We're going to start with you one time again. Sav, we're going to start with you on that one, G.
I mean, yeah, it's very well deserved, and anybody who's saying otherwise is just hating, man. Like the man, when it comes to video games, particularly this year, right? If you look at what Nintendo's done, Nintendo's just been quiet, kind of. They focused their year on Smash and Pokemon. You look at PlayStation. PlayStation was obvious they didn't have a lot to talk about beyond this year, or that they wanted to talk about beyond this year, so it was quiet. And then so Phil took that opportunity to sort of again work towards changing the rhetoric around the Xbox brand, pushing all the services, letting you know what they're going to do moving forward, which is something that video game companies generally don't do, and be forward facing about their plans and talk about this stuff early on. Yeah. And something that they haven't generally done. I know they still haven't necessarily done that in terms of games, for fear of something getting canceled or whatnot, but at least they're letting us know their plans and what they consider to be the future of video gaming. And I think no one has pushed their agenda in terms of talking about where they think video games are going and what they're doing to get there than Phil Spencer and the Xbox brand. So I like you said, I think it's a no-brainer that it goes to him because, besides being a video gamer, like a gamer, I'm a tech guy. I love tech. And I'm always interested where video game tech is. I've never been a dude to spend $900 on a phone, but I'll spend $3,000 on a TV, and I'll spend whatever on video games. So I'm always interested. Like I'm always interested to see where it's going. And I think Xbox has always been at the forefront of that. That when Xbox came into the game business, they were the underdog, and it's funny, and they still are, and it's funny to say that about Microsoft in any capacity, but they're the underdog. And they came in and they said, yeah, here you go, here's your Ethernet. You need the Ethernet to play, and everybody's like, no way.
Had broadband at that point.
Nobody had broadband. Nobody. Everybody's on dial-up, and they said, no, you're gonna need this. And that's bold. You have to take those steps. And for me, being a Sega kid growing up, I just think kid here too. Yeah, exactly. So for me, Microsoft sort of took over that mantle when Sega left the hardware business. So for me, I'm just always excited when they talk about what's coming next. The naysayers will turn around and say, "Oh, it's because they have no games to talk about." Yeah, of course you're going to say that, right? Yeah.
Well, I think honestly, sorry to cut you off, man, but I think honestly with the Phil thing. It was, to me, and this is the reason why I actually threw this, because I went back and forth about actually bringing this up. I'm like, I don't even know if this is worth talking about, because to me it's so obvious what he's done. If you've paid attention to anything going on if you know where Xbox started in 2013, probably the worst start to a generation I've ever seen a company have. And yes, it is worse than the 2006 $600 US or $599 US dollars. It was far worse than that. You know why? Because of social media. There was no social media in 2006. When that happened to PlayStation, only people knew about it if you read about it or you were watching the event live. When that happened in 2013, the whole world knew about it when Microsoft said DRM $500. The whole world knew about it right away, and that's what happened to him. So I think he's essentially been battle tested. He's taken his bumps and bruises. What he has done has been nothing short of fucking amazing. If you consider what he did, they hit the e-brake halfway through. Had to hit the e-brake and said, "Okay, we're just gonna start over." Halfway, has that ever been done at all, ever in video game history? Successful?
Nope.
Not like that. I mean, you could see it like a game that's been turned around and stopped, like a Final Fantasy 14 or something like that. But an entire brand and in console, that's never happened.
Yeah, the only game I can think of top of my head that did that like e-brake and got it out was Rod Ferguson did for BioShock Infinite. Yeah, I heard they were running through some horse shit.
Yeah,
and he came in and was just like slapping developers in the face, like, "What are you doing?" And that's and they got that shit out. But if you don't mind me going, PTK.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the just Phil winning or not winning, but being nominated as Person of the Year. It's just look at the foundation for the last 4 years, people. I mean, like PTK said, 2013 was terrible. It's literally marked this entire generation of how bad Xbox is.
Yep.
He's completely turned that around. And I don't know about you guys, but everybody talks about the 360 era being the best era in Xbox. A lot of the games that we had weren't first party. There were a lot of second party. Gears was second party. Halo was Bungie in second party. It was a lot of... Sorry, I almost sneezed. And then it went away. There was a lot of things that were second party during the 360 era. Even Mass Effect. Like all these exclusives.
Yep.
And Phil looked at that and was like, you know what? That's not what we're going to do. Bought all these first party games. And if you listen to, first party developers, and he's building a foundation that Xbox has never fucking seen in its history
ever.
And that's something that like he's changing the industry. Like I'm going to say a couple, like what two people have said. So AC Bongos or Graham Boyd said, this is going to sound psychofanatic. He goes, but I've been here for 12 years through good times and bad. And I can honestly say I've never been as confident or as excited about the future of Xbox. Phil made that happen. Well done, boss. That's what he said about it. And the guy that flipped off the Academy Awards or whatever, or during the Grammy thingy, the guy that made the Way Out, he had an interview and they asked him, he went to Phil Spencer for the Way Out. And Phil Spencer was like, I just don't think it's the right thing for us, but I think the game's going to be good. And he's like, and the guy's like, Phil Spencer turned down another or something like that, like another single player game. And the guy was like, Phil Spencer is probably the greatest thing to happen to Xbox. He's like, I don't know if you've known him long enough or if you've talked to him, but the man is one of the few executives that genuinely cares about his brand and gaming in general.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. And that guy's a straight shooter, I think. I mean, he flips off people and live TV, but that's what Phil has brought. He's brought confidence and just a swagger. And you know what? To be honest with you, I think everybody in this panel who's an Xbox fan and everybody I've talked to feels far more confident in the brand than they did 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all of him. That's all him. And it's in what he's done with his team. So, well done, man. I think he deserves it. And I know we're talking to a person that's rich as hell, right? All right, one person of the year. But to be honest with you, man, like he's done a lot for the brand that we love playing on. And it's, well deserved, man. Like pat on the back, do your shit, and keep going. Don't stop.
Yeah, no. To me, it's so obvious. You know what I'm saying? As far as what Phil's done, and we keep harping on that. But you guys, we're talking about this so much because we have to drill home the point that they were dead in their water. It was DOA at that point. It was DOA. They could have easily packed it in and said, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna let this thing right out. We're gonna take this huge hit and re-up next generation, or try to do something towards the end of the generation to save face, but we'll just concede this one. Hell no. They said, let's get Don out of here, because he clearly doesn't make any decisions that are, company standpoint as far as, good decisions. Let's get Phil in here. And like I said, Satya, think about this. In the entire history of Xbox, Phil he brought Phil was what was he like first party? He was at the head of this Microsoft Studios, right?
Yeah,
for a long time.
Yeah, he was like Matt Booty originally.
Like Matt Booty originally. Okay, think about this. Phil's with that company for this entire time. Has we ever had a guy who's the head, not only the head of Microsoft, but the whole gaming division that has been at the bottom of Microsoft and worked his way all the way up? Never. So every time we get a guy that's in that position, generally it's an exec, somebody who's already at the big table, some guy coming from some other division, like that Meyerson guy who was like the Nokia leftovers or whatever, like cell phones, like crazy. We have a gamer he's a true gamer from the core that is running the entire gaming division at Xbox. So I think when you put that into perspective, that goes to show where this brand is going. You see the consistency, you see the excitement that's generated. Phil took bullets, bro. He had to. He still takes them on a day. Anytime Phil says anything, it gets so much scrutiny back and forth about what he's saying and what he's doing. But that man has done. He had some fairy dust up there in Redmond. They got a big bottle of like fairy dust. I don't know what the hell he managed to do or how he managed to do it, but he pulled it together. So Fuzzy, what do you think about Phil, man? It's pretty obvious, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think basically without him, there wouldn't be an Xbox right now. I don't think. I know that's a bit of an extreme thing to say, but
it's not. That's actually true.
I don't think it would have lasted past 2016. I think he kind of calmed the noise and got everything in order and focused on hardware, focused on the infrastructure, and then now it's focusing on software with the studios. So I honestly think if it wasn't for him being able to get where he is now, I think there would be Sony, there'd be Nintendo, and then maybe whatever Xbox was renamed or branded to when Google or Amazon picked it up. And I don't think it'd be around right now. I think it'd be more like getting ready to relaunch in 2020 or 2021.
There was no way that Microsoft was going to let Apple or Google get anything that they have. Nothing. But you're right, Fuzz. You're right, man. Keep going. My bad.
No, I honestly think that we wouldn't have the X. That's for sure. If it wasn't for him, I don't think they would have bothered putting that much energy and engineering into something that wasn't going to be like a flying off the shelf item, or at least perceived as a flying off the shelf item. You tell a software company, oh yeah, we're going to put out hardware that's going to cost $500, and this is meant to be our primary seller. No, but it's geared for the hardcore. It's going to help not really save face, but it's going to re-energize our base as far as people that are into gaming and into PC level graphics without necessarily spending PC dollars type of deal. Mm-hmm. It's well deserved that he was nominated for it. If it wasn't for him, I think if Meyerson was still in place, we wouldn't have all these studios. Yeah. Xbox would be in a way worse place than it is now, or way worse place than what it was in 2013 even, I think. But he definitely re-energized or saved the brand for the most part.
He had to take Terry Meyerson and get him the fuck out. So Meyerson, got thrown off a fucking building or something.
Get his ass out of here, bro. We gotta go. I don't know what he was doing. Like what
he didn't have confidence. He didn't have confidence. He didn't have confidence in the brand.
You know what it is? What I think it is, a lot of it is that what Phil did was convince Satya that the way forward was with gaming, right? And he needed to do that so they could move forward in a unified way. So when you have the CEO of the company now believing that gaming is the way to push tech forward, and it always has been, gaming and entertainment, period, right? Yeah. You don't convince people about tech by incorporating it into Microsoft Office.
Well, I would say pushing tech forward through Office is because they use it through medical. The way you push tech forward is literally through cutting edge medical technology that helps people, and then it's the entertainment after that.
Yep,
that's the number one way. I mean, that's from my background. That's stuff that I worked on at school, like that. Like it was a lot of it was tied with medical. And
and that's why I think that we don't talk about this much, but it kind of hit and then it just kind of went kind of by the wayside. The whole Microsoft, the AR, the alternate reality, right, as opposed to VR. That's where that in the private sector is going to do well, because that supports construction. All these private sectors, military is applicable there. Medical is applicable though in those areas. Not yet gaming. It's way too expensive currently for to be viable for gaming. But that's where they have the whole AR. They're using a lot of that. I've heard they've already gotten like bids from like military contractors and stuff like that to use some of that technology. I'm sure they're probably already using it. To those different capacities. So I got what you're saying as far as the whole medical. Pushing tech that way, because that does make sense.
And what Phil has done is not only just convince Satya Nadella, he had to get a whole plan in place to convince him that is going to change gaming forever. People don't understand that PS Now, right? Just hired people so they can play on all devices.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh God,
it's changing the industry. And PS Now was doing that a while ago, but they didn't execute it properly because I don't know.
Look at what he just said. You ran through the list, Saab. What is it? Broadband, Ethernet, Xbox Live?
Yep.
What are you talking about? Like, we ran through
achievements.
We've done this before. Achievements.
Yep.
We've done this. We've seen this before. This is not new. They're always the innovators. The first Indian over here gets all the arrows, and everybody behind it benefits. Oh, we know we're getting shot from now. Let's not run over that part of the hill. Let's run over the other part of the hill. We're not gonna get hit with as many arrows. That's how it works for Xbox.
You're gonna see some arrows flying at E3, bro. I'll tell you that right now.
We're gonna see a whole lot. Hopefully. So let's go ahead and move on. So thanks everybody here in the chat once again for showing up live. We're doing this thing big. As you file in, please drop a like on the video, guys. It helps it be seen. If you're here for the first time, subscribe to the channel as well. I love it, guys. So this next one is going to be pretty funny. I saw this, and then when I saw the price, I was like, hold on now. Come on now, Xbox. I see what you're trying to do. Come on now. So we're talking about a little bit of hardware here, guys. We're talking the new Razer collab with Xbox. We know that they've talked about this before, but I finally got to see like some pictures of the Xbox-centric keyboarding mouse. That's, I guess, exclusive for the Xbox One platform. It is $250 though for both. And that's a bit of a push. So I want to discuss this a little bit. I want to start with you, Fuzzy, on purpose because I know this is something you too, Zocker, because I know you play on PC as well a lot of times too. So I want to get you guys both opinion on this. But you first, Fuzzy. The hardware looks great. It probably works great as well, but I know the elephant in the room is at $250. What do you think? Do you think that's going to be something that, once again, just hardcore guys and nobody else?
You might get a few hardcore that go this route, but I already bought a regular Logitech keyboard. I'm not going to use it all that often other than for like games like The Sims or like cheat codes on a couple other games. But yeah, $250 for console players, I think is a bit of a stretch, but in the grand scheme of things, I know that there are more expensive PC keyboards out there, but
that is true.
It's kind of like that intro. Like this is like the elite controller of keyboards.
Got it.
As far as console guys are concerned. So,
but there's no market for it on console yet. At least for a controller, we got to use them. So there's a market for it. Like there's no true market. Well, I mean, there's some people. There's actually a pretty large group of people that want the keyboard and mouse accessibility and be able to use either or on console. But you can't just say boom $250 when there's no market. There's no precedent set. I mean, you could go based off of like PC makers and what they're they have prices on their laptops and keyboards and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, that's not the same market that you're looking at when it comes to console players, are you?
No, but I think it'll definitely see if this thing does do kind of like what the Elite controller did. It may give a lot more of the PC like RTS game ports and stuff that are possibly on the horizon. A little bit more reason to jump forward and go ahead and get that stuff done. But I don't know. Like I said, I have a $20 keyboard right now. I'm not using it for anything serious. I know that there's some pretty expensive keyboards out there and wireless mouse out there for PC itself. But I think this will be one of those, you see on holiday sale next year for, $150 or maybe even less type of thing. But it's at least a starting point. But I'm pretty sure those that are going to even go this route will find something less expensive out there that'll suit them.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna start with you, Zalt, man. What do you think, man? I know you're a PC guy. You play a lot of PC games as well. You kind of go back and forth. So, what's your opinion, man? Too much?
I think it's a little expensive, but I also see why. I mean, like he said, it's the Elite controller of the keyboards, right?
Got it.
So they're making this for the few people that are actually going to use it.
Got it.
So they're not trying to make this cheap so then like they lose money. They're trying to be like, hey, this is out there if you want it. If you want it, cool, but you're going to pay a price for it, and it's going to be fully integrated with the Xbox ecosystem, the Xbox UI.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be built for those people that are elite but just want to play on their Xbox. And so, yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of expensive keyboards out there. I'm not going to even front. I've had the same keyboard since I'm 11 years old. I can't play a game without it. Like I can't. I take it to my boy's house if we have a LAN. I've taken it to tournaments when I used to be in them in Call of Duty. Like, hey man, this is my boo right here. I can't. There's no other way, man. Like I can't. I play on my buddy's keyboard. I'm like, fuck this thing. Get this trash out. You know, and my shit's and it's a Microsoft keyboard. It is. It's a Microsoft keyboard. It was the first keyboard I bought when I built my first computer at 11. So yeah, I mean. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a little expensive, but I understand why. And I think there's going to be little features in there that really make it easy for you to use it while you're on Xbox. Because Xbox's UI is designed with a controller in mind. So I think they're going to have some integrated stuff with a keyboard that makes it easy, like a button here or something there. Like they're going to have the Xbox button probably. So you can
I saw that. You can see it on the pictures. If you saw it on the pictures, there's an Xbox button.
Yeah, so like little things like that is just going to be a little easier while you use it on your Xbox. And, you know, the number one thing I want to see is, yeah, cool, it's nice to have keyboard and mouse. I want to see what games come first before I even think about playing with keyboard and mouse on Xbox. I want to see maybe WoW or RTSs, Gears Tactics, stuff like that. I want to see how they're going to work with the keyboard and mouse on the Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see. So on Ubisoft, $250, man. I mean, I know we're kind of harping on the price here, but like you said, it is essentially the elite version of a keyboard mouse for the actual Xbox One. So what do you think, man?
As a choice, I think it's fine. You know, I think you give that high end user something that they know is going to be quality. It's a Razer branded product, so obviously Razer is known for quality, but $250 is steep, man, because if it's based off the Mamba, right? So a Mamba is going to cost you $90 to $100 maybe. A mechanical keyboard on its own is probably going to cost you another $100 or more. So it still falls at least $50 under what this thing is. Like, I think the coolest thing about this, and again, I don't know how much integration it's going to have, because the only thing I managed to see was an Xbox button. That was it. Yeah. Right. So I don't know if they're going to have any other hotkeys that allow you to access anything else faster on the Xbox UI. So all that stuff is up in the air. I think the coolest aspect of it that makes it sort of a console gamer friendly is the fact that the keyboard and the mouse pad are all integrated in one thing. It's just one piece. So you just sit that on your lap and then you could just move the keyboard, the mouse around. So I think that's cool. But again, like, you could get a $20 mouse, USB mouse or whatnot, and sort of, so it's a hard sell for anybody but the super hardcore that wants some, an Xbox branded keyboard and mouse specifically for their console use. Beyond that, I mean, I appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into it, but yeah, it's too steep. It's too steep.
I think so too, and it's funny because I saw it and I'm like, oh man, this looks cool, and I'm doing all this research and I see the price. I'm like, skirt. You can literally hear the break in my mind. Like, wait a minute, hold on, that's a little bit pricey. I'm not a super big PC gamer at all, but I have seen some prices. I've considered building my own rig before, so I've seen some different prices here and there, and I did think that was a little bit on the high end. But once again, it's for those super involved, those guys that really want that type of experience on an Xbox. They're going to pick this up because it's a great company. I mean, when you pair up with somebody like Razer, you're paying for the name. You know what it is.
Right.
I'm sure Walmart can sell Nikes if they wanted to.
And it also goes back to what you talked about, that there's no market for it just yet. Like, because they're not being, Microsoft isn't saying, hey, all first-person shooters from now on are going to have keyboard and mouse integration. It's up to the developer. So you don't even know what kind of selection of games you're going to have. They're going to be able to play all this stuff.
Absolutely.
So, it's a hard sell.
Yeah, tough sell, tough sell. So great topic, man. We moving on to the last topic here of the podcast, man. It's been a great one so far. We're probably going to end it a little bit early, depending on how long we take with this one. If we do end it early, guys, you know how we do here on the podcast. I will leave questions up to you guys in the chat. So make sure, just in case we do end a little early, you guys put those questions right now in the chat. So let's go ahead and move on to the very last topic of the show here today, man. So we're going to talk about a little bit of Crackdown. And I'm very, very interested to see what you guys' opinions on now. There was some footage that just came out, IGN, some single-player Crackdown footage, okay? I wanted to get you guys' opinions. So first of all, have everybody here seen it? We all watched it. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. So what is you guys' opinion? We're going to start with you, Saab, from where you saw the game, what your expectations were previously and what they are now that you've seen some multiplayer as well as some single-player.
Well, after seeing that, you know, the fact that they finally showed us wrecking crew or whatever the mode is called, I got a little more excited about the game. Before then, I was just like, you know, whatever. As long as it comes out and it's competent, it's fine. And that sort of gave me a little bit more hope that they were really able to do something with the game. And then seeing more of the single player stuff. Again, I'm just hoping for a competent Crackdown experience that's fun, that it allows you to use your mobility, that it, and in terms of like looks and graphics, like the game looks much better than it did at E3 2 years ago. I played it at E3 2016, and it looked super. It felt super floaty. It didn't feel like there was any weight to it. And generally look kind of messy all the way around. It looks considerably cleaner now. The explosions look a lot better. The over the top, like
that's Crackdown though. That's part of
that is Crackdown. Like, you know, Jackson saying boom shakalaka and stuff like that. A little corny, is over the top, but I'll deal with it. But I thought, I mean, the game looks promising. One thing that I wanted from a new Crackdown was to really like explore like different abilities for the agents and stuff like that, and really be able to. I don't know if you guys remember what the concept was for Crackdown originally, the first one, right?
I don't know. Go ahead.
I remember seeing a video that broke down what Crackdown was supposed to be, right? And you basically were supposed to be able to use the environment to, you had to attack these crime bosses, right? And for the most part, the main boss of every gang was sort of holed up in like this fortress, and you could go attack him immediately if you wanted, or you could try to break down his defenses by attacking his strongholds throughout the city and then weakening him in that process. But you could go right for him if you wanted to. It's just a matter of what you were able to do to get to him, right? So I saw a video of like agents stacking cars, like 70 cars high, climbing up these cars and getting to the top of a skyscraper fortress, and then attacking like a boss like that, and just doing different things with the environment. And that never really came to pass in the game, right? So what I was hoping for is that they would take that original concept and be able to sort of blow it out in Crackdown 3. And I don't think that's happening. But I am excited to get a good Crackdown game. I think Crackdown, when the first one came.
Sorry to cut you off, so I'll let you finish here in a second. But another thing too, Saab, is this game almost didn't get made. They had to switch developers halfway through. So they hit the break once again, switched over to Sumo Digital. They did a phenomenal job considering it was dumped on them late. So they did. That's another thing. Looking at the footage, I took into consideration when I watched it. But I don't know if that's something you looked at. But I definitely saw that.
Absolutely.
Well. Okay, so yeah.
Absolutely, this game has had some serious ups and downs, and the fact that it's even coming out, I think, is another testament to what Phil is doing. Like, he realized how much it hurt them to have to cancel Scalebound, how much the whole Fable Legends debacle kind of affected the name. And so the fact that they said, you know what, regardless, come hell or high water, this game's coming out, and we're going to do what we need to make it come out and be a good game. It's super commendable. It's super commendable, because old Microsoft would have canned this a long time ago. Long time ago.
If that was Steve or somebody else like that.
That was a wrap. It was a wrap.
All right, cool. Appreciate it, Saab. So you, Zalk, man, after seeing the footage, Zalk, what do you think, man? I mean, I know you're kind of like, I'm not sure, but what do you think, man?
Oh no, I'm not at all. I'm actually I'm a huge Crackdown fan. I love the first one. I remember seeing it, buying it, and fucking loving it. And I remember playing the hell out of it, you know, when I was younger, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm actually ready for a Crackdown. I know a couple people are like, oh, you know, I wish they just did something different with it. I'm like, no, because I've only had like one good Crackdown and then another one that was a little weird. And so I'm like, no, I want a full-fledged Crackdown. Just give me what I want. And that trailer that they showed was legit. It looked cool, different environments, different cool stuff going on, abilities that I saw, like, you know, and everything else. You put it all together. It looks like there's some boss battles, like that dragon thing flying around that we saw at E3. That looked freaking cool. Being able to like change the way your car is to a tank or whatever, upgrading your guy, getting the orbs. I mean, it's just fun, man. I just think it's going to be a game you can fuck around in for hours and just have a good time and then keep coming back to, especially with the destructible environment that we've seen with the multiplayer. It's a game I'm really looking forward to, man.
And I like the way you're approaching it, to your mentality, because I've seen, for whatever reason, I don't know why, maybe people have never played Crackdown 1 or 2. I've seen a lot of people approaching it like it's supposed to be God of War. Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, stop looking at the front. All you need to know is that there's going to be a bunch of shit blowing up. You can go and collect. That is it. You don't.
The best thing you can compare it to is Just Cause 4.
Just Cause 4. It's I won't say exactly like it, but the type of game it is, that's what you're buying the game for. We're not talking a deep storyline. We're not getting no, hey, boy, come here. We're not getting none of that. Sorry. I apologize. It's not happening. Okay, you gonna get some funny Terry Crews stuff. That's why they got him in the game. But if you're looking at this game from a standpoint that where's the story in? There's no fleshed out. It's not for that, bro. You're gonna blow up a bunch of stuff, do some super out of this world craziness. That's all the game is for. That's how it was since day one.
Yeah, and you're going to be flying around. And do you guys remember the game Prototype where you're like flying around? Like, it reminds me of that too. Like you're going to collect orbs and in single bound, you're going to be jumping on buildings, trying to get up freaking skyscrapers, blowing people's fucking faces off and throwing cars across town. Like that's what like just stupid fun.
Yeah,
all it is.
Prototype and like a Hulk Ultimate Destruction. They say like that sort of game. Like it's pretty much that. I just hope like you can power up your agents crazily and they could do stuff like that, like run through buildings and stupid stuff like that.
Well, it's gonna be and I will say this, like this game has a lot. It's a big moment because this is one of the games that had second party problems with Microsoft, and it's probably one of the biggest reasons and what happened with Platinum. And what happened with a lot of the delays they had, it's one of the reasons why Microsoft invested in first-party studios.
They don't want to deal with those issues anymore. You know what? That's the first time I ever considered it. Think about the issues they've had with so many games. Scalebound, Fable, even though Fable was first-party, it was supposed to be first-party, but a lot of other shit going on in that game. All of the failures, essentially, the fact that we're not getting another Sunset, the fact that we're probably not getting another Rise, these games people want, like, those are all second, third-party games that they've had issues with. So by alleviating that, just buy your own. Fuck it, we're going to make our own games. We're going to do a Nintendo. We don't need nobody else to make our games for us. We'll make our own. And then everybody else will do the multiplat. So that is a great point. I never considered that. I never considered it.
So yeah, everybody, and not to mention, like, it's a game that you're just going to have fun with, and it's on Game Pass. If you're not sure, we're like, really?
Spend $1.
You know, spend $1. Yeah, go shuffle in your couch, find a quarter or four, and then you'll be fine. Like like it's not a big deal, and that's what I'm looking forward to playing February before Anthem, because it's to me it's Crackdown then Anthem, and then it's over.
Got it. So Fuzz, man, it's on you, G. I know Crackdown is a game you've been looking forward to as well. So what do you think about the new footage? What did you think after you saw it?
I was already excited for it when I saw the footage from, I guess it was E3 2016. I'm a big Saints Row fan, and Saints Row was loosely based off of Crackdown, the original Crackdown. So I had already liked the look of it from before, and then seeing the new footage, it just took it a whole new, a big step forward. It's almost like there was one screenshot that everybody was like, "Oh, is this what Crackdown's going to look like?" Where it was more of like an HDR pic that was more of like a still or like a concept art, and that wasn't what the game was actually looking like. I think Phil probably took that photo and was like, "See everybody talking about this photo? Make the game look just like this." And they, Sumo Digital pulled it off. I mean, they've added a lot more detail to the cell shading than what I was expecting. The overall look of it now has, a lot more grain to it. Instead of it just being the bright, neon colors and things like that, they definitely put some time and effort into giving, a weathered look to some of the environment and things like that. So I'm very happy to see the improvements that they made. And everybody was saying, oh, the more time that they take, it's just it's going to get canceled, or it's a dud anyway. Why polish a turd? It's like, it actually shows that they actually put a lot of effort into this thing to make it look like it, what people were hoping for originally before they saw the more recent unveiling in 16 and stuff. So I'm happy. This is definitely going to be my go-to just before Anthem. I'm glad that they moved up the date a little bit. Gives us some time to actually play it before it gets lost behind, Anthem or Metro and things like that. Although I think Metro got bumped up too, so it's going to be a tough week. But definitely looking forward to this thing.
Cool. All right, cool. So my opinion on the game, I share everybody's sentiments across the panel here. I'm very excited about it. I've been excited about the game. I didn't really have too many reservations because I knew the game, what it was. I played the first two, knew what the game was, knew what it was about, knew what I was getting into. So I wanted, as Zalker said earlier, something along those lines. I want a Crackdown to feel like a Crackdown. A lot of us are lost in the sauce for a couple of years. We had no idea what kind of game this actually was going to turn up to. I shout out to Phil, shout out to Sumo Digital. They've done a phenomenal job of making something out of this game that all of us, I think, really, really are going to enjoy. So one more question here. We're going to take a last one from the chat, guys, before we go ahead and wrap everything up here. Once again, just want to say thank you for everybody joining us as well. Appreciate the love and support. Subscribe, hit a like on the video. So last one, we got one question here from Shonsu. Shout out to Shonsu. He said, big year-end sale is here. What is your number one recommended game from that sale? So we've been talking about this pre-game. We had a conversation about, picking games up in the sale. I'm going to start with you, Zalker. So, because I already know what you going to recommend him purchasing.
I actually just got as a gift from a buddy of mine, Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's half off, $30. Okay. So I would recommend that. I think that's a pretty good price. But if you want to play an awesome RPG that I haven't talked about a lot, check out Assassin's Creed Gold Edition for $50. The season pass is $40, and the game with the season pass is $50. You're literally getting the game for $10.
Crazy, yeah.
So I would recommend that highly. Game of the year, do it.
Got it. Okay, I think that was pretty cut short. What about you, Sav? Anything you would recommend picking up in the sale?
Specifically, like Jesus, I get everything when it launches like an idiot. So like I have pretty much everything. So I haven't even really looked at the sale. Yeah. I would just say get Game Pass. Just get Game Pass. Like if you haven't gotten Game Pass, just get Game Pass.
It's $1.
It is the best value in all of gaming, and you get to try out. Yeah. So I would say that just if you haven't jumped into Game Pass, you don't like the idea of a subscription model thing or whatever, just give it a shot because it's kind of ridiculous all the stuff you get in Game Pass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's pretty much that's about as close as a no-brainer we can get. Yeah. So
you can literally get it for $60 for the year, people. Literally.
Yep. Crazy. So Fuzz, what about you, man? Anything in the sale you recommend picking up for anybody out there that's kind of on the fence?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, unfortunately, I picked up some for the during the earlier sale. I wish I would have waited on Odyssey, but I'm already at level 12 now, so it's like, oh wow. Odyssey is definitely worth picking up. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is worth picking up. Prey, which is probably one of the most underrated games, is probably worth picking up if you like kind of like the space horror type genre. Battlefield 5 is on sale, although it's probably going to go down even further. But I figure if you're looking forward to the Ring of Fire, which is going to be like a free update, it's might as well pick it up now. Those are the main ones that are on my list. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is a NASCAR fan. I'm probably going to pick up NASCAR Heat 3 just because they got their season pass and the game for the same price as what the game used to go for. Actually, $10 less than what the game used to go for. So that's worth looking into as well, especially if you're in the racing games. But there's just so much stuff. It's like I'm waiting to see how many gift cards I get, and I'm pretty sure the boys are waiting to see how many gift cards they get for Christmas. So it's going to be I'm glad that the sale lasts until at least the 3rd of January. So it gives us plenty of time to kind of pick through stuff. So, but yeah, Odyssey is definitely worth it. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider, those are probably the biggest two. And then like the undercard would be Prey.
Nice.
Actually, one thing I saw, funny that Fuzzy mentioned Prey. I think Prey's in a bundle too with like Dishonored 2.
It is a bundle.
Yeah, that's ridiculous because Dishonored 2 did not get the love that it deserved.
It did not. It did not. Yeah, Dishonored. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that, but yeah, I agree with pretty much. I've looked at the sale a couple times. Battlefield 5 for $30. You can't pass on that. I've heard it's a mixed bag, but a lot of people are enjoying the multiplayer. A lot of people say the multiplayer is probably the best one yet. Not ever, but I mean, best one of this generation so far. I don't know. There's a lot of games in there, but a lot of stuff, like we pick up a lot of things day one, so it is kind of tough when you look at the sale and everything says installed on it or owned. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. So I don't know. Those two. That's that and Assassin's Creed were the two I was looking at. Dishonored is another one. Very, very cheap game. I saw Star Wars. I saw Battlefront 2 for like $7. I was like, holy shit, already?
Just get EA access for $30 for the year.
Just get EA access. You don't do that. Yeah, it's not even worth it. Even at $7.
They threw it on there already. Battlefront 2. It's on there.
Yeah, I just downloaded it. I got it now.
Already, bro. Crazy. Yeah, but either way, man, I think that's gonna go ahead and wrap up things. So go ahead and pick those games up if you're kind of on the fence. Great suggestions from everybody here on the panel, and that's gonna wrap everything up here, guys. Another Shot Podcast in the bag, guys. We just want to thank everybody for coming out, viewing live. As you go out, say bye. Let everybody know what's going on with you as well. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna let everybody here. We'll let everybody where they can find them at. So we're gonna start with you. Soft, where can everybody find you at, G?
First of all, man, thank you guys for having me, Blam, Zalker, Fuzzy, man. Thank you so much for having me, guys. This has been a blast. I love talking gaming, and I know Blam has been on the show. I hope to have you guys on the show at some point next year. So definitely, man, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, man, you can find me every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern starting. I think we're coming back on the 6th of January. Okay. Iron Lords Podcast. Catch me and the rest of the Lords Sunday afternoons. Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern. And you can catch me on Twitter, LordSob ILP, and PSN and Xbox Live at BX Sovereign.
Awesome. Appreciate you on, Lord. Appreciate it, man. Shout out to all the Lords of the Round Table in the Realm. Appreciate you guys for loaning one of your own here to join the podcast. No, awesome, man, for you to take a little bit of time here on Saturday to come on the show, man. You guys are always invited. I told you guys when I was on the show, man, it's all love. We family now. So
thank you, man. Absolutely. That's all it's about, man. Just talking games.
You'll see David ass on here pretty soon at some point.
Oh man, when King's on the show, is always
you know what?
It's a spectacle.
I'm gonna invite y'all. Like it's gonna be a tandem because I don't know if I can invite him by himself. I don't know how he is.
No, you put that King is a show unto himself. But you bring him and Addict together, something like that. Yeah, it's gonna be some nice fireworks.
I'm gonna have to bring I may not have enough bandwidth for King. When he decides to get on, my internet may run out. Shout out to King though. That's my guy though, man. He's a gaming sexual chocolate, man.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. The other day, somebody called him a gaming Kimbo Slice. Somebody called him that the
other day. I said sexual chocolate because he low-key looks like Daryl Dawkins. Chocolate Thunder, from the Sixers. I don't know if you guys are that old basketball player, but anyway, shout out to you. Shout out to the Lords of the Realm.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. But yeah, we're gonna move on to you, Zalker. Wonder Boy, man. As soon as we get the contracts and the paperwork out the way, let everybody know where they can find you at, man. Give them that number too for your agent. Gotta make sure.
Yeah. The number is 87. Get it? Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games, bullshitting with everybody. It's a good time. And you go to my YouTube channel, Zalker87. I got content coming out every week. I just reviewed God of War, for the first time. Just started playing it, got a PlayStation. So yeah, go on there. That's all my content. And yeah, man. That's all I got right now. I'm ready to eat. I ain't gonna lie.
I am too, bro. But if you guys have not subscribed to Zalker, he is doing big things in the community. Get on that train early while you can. You're gonna look up, that thing will be gone. So Zalker is moving. Yeah. So appreciate you, buddy. Always a good time here on the show, man. And next, Mr. Unassuming, or should I say Mr. Roly with a dab of ranch. He walking around with a Rolex on nowadays.
Mr. Forza himself.
Yeah, no, Forza, aka over there. Yeah, he got the rollie now. I don't know if you know, Saul. He got that a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, hold up. You got to talk to King, man. Hold up.
Man.
You in the King realm now.
Oh, he over there with the Yacht Master, the
girlfriend. 20 years at my employer. That's nice. One of their awards. So I'm pretty happy and pretty stoked being there and everything. Yeah, it's good place to work. I wish it was involved in video games, but just about everybody there plays video games. So it's one of my other passions, automobiles. So that's
We'll go ahead and give yourself a shout out too while we got you on.
Yeah, Fuzzy Belvedere. You can find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. Same thing with PSN, Fuzzy_Belvedere. Or you can find me on Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere. Usually playing Forza, although I'm going to be deep diving into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and then probably Shadow of the Tomb Raider after that. So always great talking games with you guys. Yeah, wonderful group of guys to talk games with.
Let's get it. And last but not least, Jesus Christ, I got tongue tied. The host with the most. Holy moly, I don't know what happened there. Your boy PTK Blam, once again across the board. PTK Blam on Xbox Live, first, last name on Twitter as well. We're doing a lot of big things here on the podcast, guys. We're doing some new things every single week, man. I have a lot of segments that I'm going to be including. I am now taking suggestions on Twitter. If you guys want to let me know on some things I can add to the podcast to make it a little bit more exciting, maybe a little bit more interactive, let me know. Hit me in the DM on Twitter. But other than that, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Another one in the books. Subscribe, like. Let's go ahead and see if we can hit 1,200 subscribers before the end of the video. And we are out of here, everybody. Peace out.
Later.
All right.
Peace.